what are the legal skills that HR consultants must develop? Now we look at the HR consultant side, okay, and we look at ground level up. So your challenge would be to understand the laws of different states from scratch. Problem in this is that we don't know which laws apply when in most of the scenarios. Sometimes there's overlap, sometimes there confusion is there, and special confusions arise in case of a remote workforce scenario. I gave you some example also right now of the spread wala problem. Then there are different thresholds. Kabhi 20 people mein something is applicable, kabhi 5 people mein something is applicable. Some parts of posh apply if you are over 10 people, otherwise it applies irrespective. Even if you have less than 10 people, it will apply. Then the numbers thresholds also 10 or 20 will differ. 20 employees or 20 employees plus interns plus everybody. So those questions become very important to apply. So those thresholds you have to understand. They vary, they are different across different states. You have to understand that there are different forms and registers also to be maintained for every state. Sometimes your head office may have to do that. So one person or one or two people will have to maintain it under all states, or better still, they will outsource it to one consultant saying that aap ye kar lo. And then they'll say that, okay, I have employees in 4 states, but I don't want 4 consultants. Can one consultant do it? Right? That's what they will say, and it will be done. Familiarity with the central and state government ka labor commissioner system is very important. So most of the times it happens in gratuity that if you have a company in private sector, okay, in private sector under most of the laws, your state government will have all the powers. So if you have uh, office in 3 states, then those states ka law you will have to comply with those state government systems. But in gratuity what happens, that it will be the central government even for a private sector company. So the problem here is that the state government labor systems will know everything, and they'll say, "Arey, what happened to gratuity? Why are you not complying with our gratuity system?" Central government labor commissioners will know about your gratuity, and they'll say, "Why are you not giving us other details?" And then you will have to tell each one of them that, look, for gratuity you're the appropriate government and I'll only give to you. For other laws you're the appropriate government, these I'll give to you. And this can, and the labor authority may keep doing some back and forth to assess how legally strong you are to fight this, even leading you to go to court. So you will have to do that. Okay. Different inspectors and commissioners are there of central and state government. Tribunals are different. Addresses, physical address also is different. Okay, so you may sometimes get surprised that kal to yahan se aaya tha, now we got notice from this address, what is happening to the office. So the address for each of these, labor commissioners court is different, for tribunal is different, for central and state each of these are different. Okay, so you will have about 4 or 5 different addresses. So industrial tribunal come labor court is usually consolidated for central government, separately for state government. Labor commissioners court also separately for central and separately for state. So at least 4 different courts will be there. Then if you want to know regular civil courts, they'll be different. Then criminal courts, number 6, will be different. Civil courts say there will be may not be a lot of work. Criminal courts say there can be some work once in a while. Okay, but there are 6 different kinds of courts, and labor courts are themselves of 4 kinds at least. Uske aage, then you will have the PF commissioner system, the ESI corporation system. So now if I add this, the number becomes 8. Okay, so you are basically, as an HR person, dealing with more courts than a lawyer is dealing with a lot of times. Okay, so sometimes there can be a conflict. Central hai, state hai, kaun sa court hai, tribunal hai ya commissioner hai. Private sector, this example I gave you. Then another example, now this is being unified by the labor codes, but in a central government PSU, what happens is that the central government is the appropriate government. They have all the powers for administration and all. But the contractor who supplies manpower to them, for them it is the state government. So frequently there will be this lack of data and clarifications being sought from such contractors or from such organizations, okay, by the state government machinery, that what happened, what is the data of this contractor, please provide us. Now what's happening under the new code is that the IR code, industrial relations code, is that the contractor also is going to be governed by central government if they are supplying this workforce to the central government PSU, so that the data gets harmonized. But these are only 2 examples. There are many more instances of a conflict that can arise, okay, depending on the facts of the organization. Then what happens is knowing the progress of legal proceedings. This is something that HR managers need to know. So what did I explain? First I said that you need to know the different systems, and state government systems, and the labor laws. Then knowing how the labor proceedings progress, which matters go before which authorities, what are the stages in a legal proceeding, what are the different types of matters. Okay, so let's see this. Okay, which matters go before which authorities, meaning something going to PF commissioner, something going to ESI corporation director general, something going to civil court, labor tribunal, that's different. Okay, that becomes a challenge. What are the stages? So initially, okay, employee files a claim or somebody else files a complaint, then there's a notice to you, you send a response, then there may be a hearing and some evidence will be taken, you may cross examine, then there'll be an order, then there'll be recovery, then if there's a violation, then there can be criminal enforcement. So you need to know that stages. Okay, there are 5 6 stages. What are the different types of matters? There could be like contractual disputes. These will not go usually to those labor courts, they will go to arbitration or a civil court. Okay, and that HR managers need to know. Disciplinary proceedings will happen internally. ICC proceedings under POSH Act are very similar to disciplinary proceedings, barring the specific requirements under the POSH Act. Industrial disputes will go before, again, they'll go before the conciliation officer, who's the labor commissioner's office, and they'll then go to industrial tribunal or labor court, depending on the matter on which the dispute is, and then they may go to high court. Okay, civil cases are entirely different. Civil cases can arise if an employee's friend, relative, or third party sues the employee, and the court orders you to withhold some of the salary of the employee or pay to a third party. So sometimes the employer just becomes a party because somebody writes to the employer, or because the court orders ki bhai tum isko kitna paisa de rahe ho, cut some amount because this your employee has a due to another person, and that needs to be paid off. Cases before labor commissioners courts, lot of cases go like gratuity, payment of bonus act, all these, minimum wages act. Labor courts and industrial tribunals get industrial disputes act related matters. Criminal cases go if there's a violation of especially registration, compliance, all those provisions, or after getting an order to pay someone, you are not paying and complying, then criminal cases can start. Then you need to know the hierarchy of courts, which is the first level, second level, third level. Okay, what are my options if I lose? If I'm taking the right stand, I lose the first time, how can I go higher up? Then you need to know what are the risks of disgruntled employees initiating proceedings against the organization. Can someone who is not personally affected, okay, so somebody who is still working in the organization, can they initiate a complaint about another person whose employment was terminated? Okay, then before which forum do these proceedings start? Is it at the labor commissioner or inspector's office, or at the labor court or industrial tribunal? Is the process before different forums different or the same? What is your role as an HR manager? How can you best protect the organization's interest? How should you conduct yourself? What if there is a union leader on the other side and he's being very animated, and he's not a part of your employee, of your workforce, he's a union leader now representing the employee because they are allowed to represent under the labor laws. Okay, and what kind of authorizations you need to represent the organization. Now once you learn all this, okay, imagine you know all this, you find these questions difficult and worth learning about. Do you feel like, I should know answers to these questions, if I know this it will help me? Then now if you learn all this, then what happens is you can prepare a regulatory dashboard showing all the authorities names in the district that you are in for every office. You can also prepare some calendars for your organization, for each workforce, and you can create a reporting process. Okay, now your organization can be your own organization or it can be a client. Okay, then you can, so these, then you can also prepare third level and MIS of ongoing cases. MIS meaning monthly management information system. Okay, tracking all the ongoing cases, what the issue is about, what's the next date of hearing, and what was the last order. Okay, this somebody can run then if you do this. It is extremely helpful if your organization wants to expand this kind of skill set. Okay, full knowledge of compliance is needed. It may not be perfect, but you cannot afford to be clueless. Okay, so you need to have full compliance calendar for all your offices or all your clients offices. You cannot rely on some email list and generic deadlines. In that case, what happens is that, like tax, or GST or company law, they are uniform across the country. So CAs and CS and lawyers actually have it easier in comparison to HR managers, because you have state law related compliances which can be very different from time to time. For labor laws, it will differ across organizations, industries, and regions. Plus, if you have office in 4 states, you don't want to see 25 states mein kya compliance hai, you only want to see for those 4 states. So larger organizations now face bigger challenges, and obviously, as an organization grows, their need and reliance on a labor consultant increases. So what do you need then? You also need, apart from all the other skills, you need drafting skills. There's a huge need for HR consultants because legal teams don't have the facts for on the ground level, and they don't have the bandwidth. In-house HR teams may not also have enough time because they are usually looking at performance, recruiting, L&D, generalist, and other roles. Okay, so they may not have the drafting aspect. Okay, difficult work or complex aspects or specialized work is often outsourced completely for a second opinion, or completely outsourced. Both of these possibilities are there. Then HR consultants have opportunity to create a specialized practice around posh act or shops and establishments, or just specific pockets you can choose, or data protection or CSR.